Welcome to One-on-One Sports. This is not a rerun. Do not adjust your TV sets. Chris Bunn and Joey Accordino, and we are back and better than ever.
That's right, Chris. And in honor of the Halloween season, Chris, you've put on a really terrible Halloween mask.
Just because I'm not wearing makeup?
Oh, okay. So here are the starting five.
The San Francisco Giants and the Texas Rangers have each won their championship series and are locked in and ready to meet in the World Series. Joey, who's going to win?
I'm going with the underdog, the San Francisco Giants. If it's good enough for Sean Dolan, it's good enough for me. They are going to win, and here's why. Yes, Cliff Lee is the best pitcher in the postseason, but the lineup is not that good after that. The Giants have three pitchers in Sanchez, Kane, and Lincecum who have done it before. Cliff Lee does not like to pitch on short rest. He might not pitch in Game 7. And Brian Wilson, great closer for the Giants.
Brian Wilson, I agree with you. He was on my fantasy team. Great close this year. But first of all, you're mentioning Jonathan Sanchez as if he's on the same level as Matt Cain.
He's a good pitcher.
He's a good pitcher. Solid. He's not Matt Cain or Tim Lincecum. But what you do have is the Giants have two pitchers, whereas the Rangers only have one ace. I think that's going to help them. Remember Schilling and Randy Johnson in the 0-1 series? They pitched 3 times in the World Series, or 4 times.
I think it's going to be the Giants, though. Now listen, the Pac-10 is set to become the Pac-12 with the additions of Utah and Colorado next year. The new divisions have been decided. Chris, do you like them?
I love them. Okay, this is what the ACC should have done. Okay, the Pac-12 divided their leagues into essentially the North and the South. So we have Washington, Washington State, Oregon, Oregon State, Stanford, and Cal. And then they have UCLA, USC, Arizona, Arizona State, Utah, and
Colorado.
Colorado.
Nice job.
Yeah. But what they did with the California schools and what the ACC should have done with the North Carolina schools is that they play each other every year. So instead of Carolina not playing Wake Forest one year and Duke not playing NC State one year, UCLA will play USC, Stanford, and Cal every year.
Chris, I agree with all that. One thing to watch out for, Utah. They are going to win that division in their first year ever.
I honestly wouldn't bet against it.
They have a ton of starters back. They're undefeated this year, and they're better than any team in that division right now.
Honestly, I wouldn't bet against it, but keep a lookout for Oregon. The NFC West is in contention for the worst division in football, but also may be the most competitive. Who's going to win this terrible division?
Well, Chris, our producer must have money on the or the Seahawks or somebody, because this doesn't matter. Nobody cares. But since we're addressing the question, I think it's going to be the Seattle Seahawks. They are the only team in the division that has scored more points than they've given up. They're 4-2 right now. They have 4 winnable games left, and 8-8 is going to be good enough to win that division.
It's a sad fact, but it's true. Like, everyone else in that division is awful. San Francisco, who was supposed to win the division, looked like they were head and shoulders above everyone else, is 1-6. They're not coming back. They're not making the playoffs. And like you said, 8-8 might win this division, and Seattle is the closest thing to it.
One thing's for sure, though, nobody will be tuned into that division for the rest of the year.
Not at all.
Okay, guys, the preseason college basketball rankings have been released, and no surprise, reigning national champions Duke sit on top. But how do the rest of the rankings look?
You know, honestly, I don't really have that many complaints with the rankings this year. I think North Carolina may be a few spots too high. I think Kansas might be a few spots too low. Kansas State, and I think we both agree on this, might be a little too high. But honestly, what else is there to argue about?
Well, there's this, and I had the opportunity to chat with Jay Billis this summer, and yes, I'm name dropping. But something we talked about is the fact that college basketball is not that strong right now. You look at 2006, 2007, 09, and last year with Duke, the field is really weak. Look at the teams right now. Pittsburgh is the number 4 team in the country. Now, you love and know college basketball. Can you name 4 players on that Pitt team?
No, I can give you one, Ashton Gibbs. I'm done.
Exactly. It's a very weak, I mean, for college basketball, it's just not what it used to be.
It's a weak year, and I think that's what's going to lend ourselves. We're going to see Duke go a long way, but what else really is there this year? Michigan State's had a lot of problems.
It's sad.
It really is sad. So we actually might see the NBA lockout contribute heavily to securing the talent pool for the NCAA next year. Speaking of, David Stern is pushing to have player salaries cut. What's more likely to happen? Players taking less money, or a lockout?
Well, it's definitely going to be a lockout. They're not even close. The players' union in the NBA is not close to a new collective bargaining agreement. It's because the NBA, they're not turning a profit. The players make 57% of all the money that goes out, and that's just not working. The owners are losing money. It's a sad state for the NBA right now, and it's bad because the on-court product, in my mind, is better than ever. But I don't see a resolution in the near future.
I think one of the things people had a knock on was like, no one watches the NBA, the talent pool is terrible. But that's simply not true. It's getting better and better. The leagues are more competitive now, especially with the whole LeBron, Miami Heat, really balancing out the East and the West. However, David Stern wants to cut $700 million from players. Not happening. It's an average of $1.5 million per player.
Chris, we'll know something by the All-Star break in February, my prediction. All right, we have to take a quick timeout, but when we return, I get to sit down with Billy O'Riordan to play a little NBA Who'd You'd Rather. Don't touch that remote.